see. The logos were black and white because the movie's first scene is black and white. Let's hear it for art, in case you confused it with Prague, South Carolina.
Your file shows no kills, and it takes 2.
A flashback within a flashback? Now with even more black and white. The semi-6 higher up doesn't know when his gun feels way lighter than usual without the magazine in it. This killing and these new Bond movies are brought to you by The Bourne Identity. Discount Blood Diamond, in case you confused it for Mbal, Mississippi. Illegal Cobra raccoon fighting. Bond, I guess early in his spy career, figures a bulldozer will be the perfect vehicle to track down a guy running around a construction area on foot. Then the movie proves Bond right by making the guy stop running and hide behind a whole bunch of tubes, which Bond couldn't have known he was hiding behind. Also, Bond is a dick to commerce. Bond willingly fights with a guy hanging hundreds of feet in the air that he just cautioned his now dead partner he needed to take alive. Bond is shatterproof. Why didn't they make a whole movie out of this dude? Is there not a market for excitement? At this point, I don't know how the Bond knows where this guy went, and I don't want him to catch him either. Massive gunfire all around, and all they do is hit the hero's knee, and Bond goes unscathed. Of course, this embassy has a bunch of shootable gas lying around for Bond to get out of this unget-outable situation. This is the worst written article on a VIO product placement I have ever seen. Be afraid, be very afraid, that Bond was able to trace the exact location of this dude from embedded data from a text message.
I thought that one less bomb maker in the world would be a good thing.
Where did you go from this
Holster the bloody weapon, Carter. I need him alive.
to this? Does Bond hate parkour that much?
Don't ever break into my house again.
At least until Skyfall. Also, the guy just killed a great lead at an embassy, knows M's real name, and broke into her house, and he's not Bond yet. But sure, he gets the kind of leeway a veteran gets. Just in case you confused it with Nassau, Portugal. Bond crashes this Range Rover in the parking lot, and somehow this brings all the security to the scene. Also, did he think up this plan on the spot? The guy mistook him for a valet, and Bond went along with it, apparently to wreck the dude's car. But that gave him the double bonus of being able to slip into the surveillance room. Bond gets the luckiest security footage ever, as the guy he's looking for texts the ellipsis message as he gets out of his car. Makes you wonder what Bond would have done if the guy waited until he got inside the club. Bond's seduction technique is to stare at the beautiful woman until their bikini flies off. This, however, doesn't work for me, because I don't have MI6 training. The subtitle for this scene says festive calypso music playing, and I'm wondering, is there a dark and brooding calypso tune out there?
If that was for luck, you're 2 hours late.
Luckily, Bond also happens to stumble on the hot girl with relationship problems.
Trip aces.
No respectable dealer would call this trip aces. That's a set. There's a difference. Get it right. Also, as you will soon see, Bond will always have some mega amazing hand to win against these fools. Anything that's movie friendly. You'll never see him make a tough call with ace high or a simple pair. This guy gets handed a note right after losing a huge poker hand. If it's anything like my game of life, I bet that note read pay hospital fees of $100. Double O blow. Jesus, you know, I'd actually like to see a Bond where he thinks to do something and it totally doesn't work out. Then we see what kind of amazing detective work he has to do to advance the plot. Bond hasn't learned how to be inconspicuous yet. That's not required to be a 00, apparently. Yeah, Bond, that is clearly the only place he could have gone. I mean, if Bond is going to be omnipotent, what's the fucking point? Really? Those bad guys were able to change the keypad at the airport to suit their needs, and with all this cloak and dagger, they felt the need to make the password the same as the bring the package to our predetermined meeting place code word? Open cop car just happens to be sitting around for the bad guy's needs. No one sees him do this, confirming my long-standing fear that none of these on-the-ground guys at airports are actually important. Huh. It's like the airport was specifically built for Bond's success. With all the happening at this airport, not one member of law enforcement has shown up yet. You know what might make this fight a tiny bit more interesting? If I had any idea who this bad guy was, what he was trying to do, what his skill level was, whether he can speak English. I mean, we know negative things about this guy. This bomb is beeping, and as we find out, Bond took the bomb and attached it to this guy's belt, but he can't hear it? When he finally presses the button, he can totally hear the beeping, like that wasn't beeping before.
Explain how he could set up a high-stakes poker game at Casino Royale in Montenegro. 10 players, $10 million buy-in, $5 million rebuy.
We interrupt this Bond movie for the World Series of Poker, in case you confused it with... Wait, where's Montenegro again? Holy Eva Green isn't... God, I can't talk.
10 million was wired to your account in Montenegro.
The British government gives James Bond, a man who has done almost nothing right so far, $10 million to play in a f***ing poker game. I don't care how good a poker player you are, this is money that isn't likely coming back. And for what? If Bond wins, he stops a terrorist from winning $150 million. But do they get to arrest the guy afterwards? If he loses, well, that's not good, is it?
Rolex.
Amiga.
Beautiful.
I wonder who pays in product placement like this, or which company pays more. You might think Omega, since that's ultimately the brand that Bond is wearing. But you could argue her instant assumption that such a beautiful timepiece was a Rolex gives them the edge. I'm actually now much more curious about this than I should be, and I'll probably never get closure.
I'm Mr. Arlington Beach.
The fakest sounding name in the history of ever. Why not call him Sir Poker Kills a Lot, or Barrister of Death, or Boner McPokersex?
Sir?
James Bond. You'll find the reservation under Beach.
And there's the origin story of why Bond is so easy to find in hotels. Why didn't we get a Q-scene in this movie explaining all this stuff?
So I decided that it was cheaper to supply his deputy with evidence that we were bribing the chief. It's amazing what you can do with Photoshop these days, isn't it?
On magazine covers? Yes. In international police investigations of bribery and fraud? F***ing yes!
6 letters or more.
A $10 million buy-in, and this bank provides the least security for a password ever. Also, this movie is suddenly Maverick, only more hilarious. And yes, I know there's an earlier Casino Royale from the 60s. Thing is, the movie Maverick is a remake of the TV show from the 50s. Boom! Roasted. What's that? You say the book of Casino Royale was published in 1952? Well, we have a saying around here about books, and it's basically that I still win.
4 players. It's your bet.
No, seriously, James Bond, World Series of Poker. Only Bond could spot a tell like that. Badass James Bond calls 3 times in a row, because that's exciting.
We've now been playing for 4 hours. It's time for a short break.
Wait, they've been playing poker for 4 hours, and we saw one hand? Wow, that is just like the World Series of Poker.
I will take a hand for this betrayal, but you need it to play cards.
Wait, have you ever seen Hold'em poker? Not only could you do it with one hand, you could probably do it with only your face and toes if you had to. In fact, we've seen that very thing. What, that can't be a hearing aid? Also, Le Chiffre is definitely hearing this, right? I mean, unless the rooms are soundproof or something. This guy brought a sword to a James Bond fight, fully clothed showering. Bond continues the odd fascination with Kentucky by licking fingers good.
I'll keep the chief looking over his shoulder. He'll be wondering who's going to come for him next.
I mean, he didn't hear that battle in the hallway after they left? Bond looks at his cards, which in itself can be a tell, and so that the audience knows what Bond is playing with.
Bond will have to go all in to call his bluff.
Thank God this girl is a poker idiot, so that we, the audience, can get spoon-fed play-by-play of the action. Also, there aren't very many scenarios where Bond would fold this hand. He's got kings full of aces right now, and only 2 very unlikely hands beat him. This is not a terribly difficult decision, no matter what. If he had a straight or just a jack, this would be a tougher decision. This is an epic slow roll, but it also shows how stupid it is for a government to bankroll a poker game like this. Even with all the bullshit about tells and Bond being fooled, neither player had much of a choice with the hands they were playing, and it all came down to luck anyway.
You must have thought I was bluffing, Mr. Bond.
No, actually, it's pretty standard poker. People who fold Bond's hand in that situation aren't typically good at the game.
Vodka martini. Shaken or stirred? Do I look like I give a damn?
Who are the people that love this movie? And what do they love it for? Being half action movie, half rounders? Luckily, Bond just happens to have a portable medkit that just happens to have every drug possible that can save him from poisoning. Vesper, who clearly saw Bond was in distress, waited until the last possible moment to go outside and help him. And the final 4 come down to old Asian dude we barely know, humongous black guy we barely know, and the 2 leads, whom we barely know.
40,500,000 all in.
Well, I think I will call you on that one.
Yeah, I would too. Yet another hand where the player has virtually no choice.
Gentlemen, showdown, please.
And be sure to do it one by one, so it will be more dramatic for the audience to see a progression of winning hands. And be sure it takes 1 full minute of screen time, guys. Bond shows a lucky-ass straight flush, which is insanely lucky-ass. I don't think we saw one hand of poker played where anyone would have played their hands differently, so this all really came down to luck and pretty much no skill.
I think something is driving you, and I think I'll never find out what that is.
Jesus, action film that devolved into an NBC late-night poker game is now devolving into an episode of Bones. And I promise that I'll be tuned the f*** out completely by the time it devolves from that into a Red Shoe Diaries episode. So, Evil Guy can somehow know Bond will figure it out at the last minute and follow her to see her get kidnapped, and then chase after her, but he can't rig a f***ing card game so he wins. Do I have that right? Bond survives this.
I'm afraid your friend Mathis is really my friend Mathis.
I guess Felix, who was in the damn CIA, couldn't arrest this guy after Bond told him.
It's all yours.
In fact, Felix just goddamn disappears after that scene. Mad stalking toward a naked Daniel Craig? Well, if only for the ladies out there, I feel compelled to say scene does not contain a lap dance. Ball busting. Strange dude with a gun, ex machina. Also, how the f*** did he find him here? How did this guy know the villain was going to waste 7 minutes with torture and monologuing? Wait, you mean he didn't know, and yet still showed up just in time? That's right, Bond doesn't even get to kill the bad guy in this movie. Some lender dude does. Banking is fun.
Help us.
Help us?
We find out later that Mathis is actually a good guy, but it's pretty amazing MI6 orders his arrest just in time at the very moment he might be trying to poison Bond. Also, as the secondary so-called villain gets dragged away, remembering the main villain has already been shot in the head, I'd like to point out we still have 30 minutes of movie left to go. I'd also like to point out I may or may not start paying less attention to the rest of this movie as we go along.
If you'd just been born, wouldn't you be naked?
Yeah, but she'd also be a fucking baby, man. Possibly even a preemie, but at the very least a day-old measured in inches baby. And this dialogue is f***ed. This dude tracked Bond down all the way to the country to transfer his money. That is some serious service.
If you would type in the account number.
The account number appears to be like 3 numbers.
V-E-S.
Bond made the super-duper mission important password the name of the girl I'm still not even sure if he f***ed or not. Did this movie just turn into From Here to Eternity? Meanwhile, in the movie Friends with Benefits.
It was transferred to the account number your company gave us, Mr. Bond. It appears the funds are being withdrawn as we speak.
Is there really no way Bond can stop this money from transferring until everything gets cleared up? Hey, put a hold on that. I think we've been hacked. The end. I need to kill a couple guys, so why not destroy Venice to do so? License to kill Venice. Good thing wood is bulletproof. Man, it must be really hard to watch the woman you love drown, even though she 100% betrayed you and is a total jerk-ass and arguably deserves to die. But whatever. Romantic James Bond for the win, am I right? Bond thinks the diaphragm is located between the boobs. Necrophilia. It's definitely going to take a whole other movie to get over this shit.
And they blackmailed her, threatening to kill him unless she cooperated. We should have picked up on it.
Of all the people you picked to help handle the money, this is the one that you picked, and she just happened to have a kidnapped boyfriend you didn't know about until after the fact? I mean, Jesus.
How you doing?
Oh, me? I'm great. My dead girlfriend wasn't actually evil after all. I got this sweet boat, and this even sweeter Sony Vaio laptop.
You don't trust anyone, do you, James?
No.
Then you've learnt your lesson.
The question is, did you learn your lesson? You let a woman who was definitely compromised handle the money.
She made a deal to spare your life in exchange for the money.
Somehow, the organization behind this double cross decided it was a good idea not to kill a British secret agent when they had the chance. Besides, the deal was her boyfriend for the money, not extra person not previously involved. Movie thinks I'm still paying attention.
He beat me. Straight up. Pay him. Pay that man his money.
I have Japan, you have a 17.4% chance of making you straight.
Never tell me the odds.
It was a ceremony, an initiation.
Stop it, Harry. I know where you're going with this.
It happened.
Sometimes you gotta go back to actually move forward. And I don't mean going back to reminisce or chase ghosts.
This is the end.
I don't believe it. Now my pants are chafing me.
Allegra, I'll be home just a little later than I said. I'm taking Dr. Fell out for a drink.
I imagine what you see and learn touches everything else in your mind. Your values and decency are present, yet shocked at your associations, appalled at your dreams. No thoughts in the bone arena of your skull for things you love. You know,
the Nazis had pieces of flair, but they made the Jews wear them.
You could kiss me on the veranda.
Lips would be fine.
If you want to know something he won't tell you, cut off one of his fingers. The little one. Then tell him his thumb's next. After that, I'll tell you if he wears ladies' underwear.
Hello?
I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.
Hello?